English for Deep Thinking. Introduction. Look up at the night sky, full of stars. Do you feel a little bit amazed? Do you wonder about big questions? Maybe you sit with friends or by yourself and think about life. What makes people happy? Why do we do things we don't understand? What does it mean to be free? These are big questions that stay in our minds. They go beyond our daily lives and touch what it means to be a person. This wish to know more is a good thing. Many people learn English to get jobs, travel, or talk to people from other places. That is very good. Being able to speak English for daily life is a big step. It helps you connect with more people. But what if English could do more? What if it was not just for talking, but for helping your mind think better? This book has a simple but strong idea. Learning English is not just for talking every day. It is a strong tool that helps you understand and share big ideas, deep thoughts, and ideas about life. It makes thinking about hard things easier for people learning English. We call this thinking with big English. Imagine you have a basic box of tools for simple jobs. You have a hammer for nails and a screwdriver for screws. These are important. But if you want to build something complex, something that needs careful work or deep understanding, you need special tools. Thinking with big English is like that special box of tools for your mind. It is about learning the right words, phrases, and ways to build sentences. This helps you explore ideas you cannot touch or see. It is about going past just saying what something is to finding out what it means. The words we use are linked to how we think. If we don't have the right words for an idea, it's hard to understand it. It's even harder to tell others about it. Think about fairness. To talk well about fairness, you need words like equal, justice, rights, and fair treatment. Without these words, your talk about fairness will be very short. This is where ideas you can't touch come in. These are ideas that are in our minds, not in the real world. Things like love, freedom, goodness, beauty, truth, or moving forward. You can't hold these things, but they change our lives and what we believe more than almost anything else. Philosophy is about asking big questions about life, what we know, and what is good. It is a great example of thinking with big ideas. People who study philosophy use words to think about the hardest questions humans have ever asked. By learning the English used in philosophy, you can learn from wise people over many years. You can understand talks that have shaped our world and see old ideas in new ways. It's like being invited to a long, important talk that has been going on for a very long time. This journey into thinking with big English is not just about learning new words. It is about making your own thinking sharper. It helps you look at ideas more clearly, see how different ideas connect, and share your own thoughts better. It opens up a world of books, studies, and deep talks that you might have thought were too hard before. In the next parts, we will explore this exciting area together. We will learn words that help us talk about hard ideas. We will learn how to make sentences that have deeper meaning. We will also find out how thinkers share their ideas. Our aim is to give you the big English you need to understand the world in a deeper way. This journey is for anyone who feels curious, who wants to know more, and who believes their mind can think about the biggest questions. If you are a student wanting to learn new things, a worker wanting to explain hard plans, or just someone curious about the world, this book is for you. Do you want to go past everyday talks and use English for your deepest thoughts? Let's start this exciting trip together. 1. Understanding big ideas. Sometimes you see a picture and feel a strong feeling, even though it's just paint on cloth. Or you hear music that makes you think about life in a new way. These are like big ideas. They are not things you can hold like a toy or a rock. Instead, they are thoughts, feelings, and questions that are in our minds. Things like being happy, being fair, or what is real, are big ideas. Think of a simple word, table. You know what a table is. You can see it, touch it, and put things on it. It is real. Now, think of a word like freedom. You cannot point to freedom. It is an idea. It is a feeling. It is a way to live. It is something people have fought for, written about, and talked about for a very long time. This is the difference between a simple, everyday idea and a big idea. Big ideas are about things we cannot touch. They are more about understanding the world and our place in it. They are the questions that make us wonder, the ideas that shape our communities, and the feelings that make us human. English is a great language for exploring these big ideas. It has so many words. Many of these words come from old languages like Latin and Greek. This might sound hard, but it is actually very helpful. It means English has special words for special ways of thinking. Words like implication. This means what something suggests or hints at, even if it is not said directly. Or paradigm, which means a model or a pattern of thinking. We also have words like existential, which is about being alive and what that means, and metaphysical, which is about ideas that are beyond the physical world, about things we cannot see or touch, like what is real or if we have a soul. These words might seem hard at first, but learning them is like getting a special key. This key opens the door to understanding and talking about deep thoughts. It is part of what we call advanced English for abstract thought. It means using English not just for talking every day, but for thinking deeply about important questions. Using the right words is very important. Imagine you want to say people are not happy. You can say people are not happy. That is easy to understand. But what if you want to explain why they are not happy? You could say, things that are unfair in society cause many people to feel worried about life. This sentence uses more advanced words. Things that are unfair in society means when things are not equal for everyone. Cause means to help make something happen. Many people means a lot of people. And feel worried about life is a deep feeling of unease about living. See how the second sentence gives us much more information and helps us understand a deeper problem. It's not just about people being a little sad. It's about a deep, widespread feeling of worry caused by unfairness. The exact words help us understand the exact meaning and how serious the situation is. Unclear words can make our thinking fuzzy, but using the right English words helps us think clearly and share our thoughts with others in a way that is correct and meaningful. Learning these specific English words and ways of speaking is not something you are born with. It is a skill you can learn, just like learning to ride a bike or play a musical instrument. It takes practice, but the reward is huge. You gain the ability to understand and talk about the most interesting and important ideas in the world. Let's think about a time in history when English became really important for new ideas. During a time called the Enlightenment, around the 1700s, thinkers in Europe started asking big questions about how society should be run, about the rights of people, and about how we should think. Many of these ideas were written down and talked about in English. One of these thinkers was a man named John Locke. He wrote about ideas like natural rights, the idea that all people are born with certain rights, like the right to live, to be free, and to own things. These were very new and powerful ideas for his time. Locke didn't just say, people should be free. He used careful English to explain why people should be free and what that freedom meant. He talked about reason, which is our ability to think logically, and natural law, which he believed were rules that guided how people should act, given by nature or God. He used phrases like state of nature to describe what life was like before governments existed. He talked about consent of the governed, meaning that governments are only fair if the people agree to be ruled. These were not simple ideas. They were abstract concepts that needed clear and exact language to be understood. English, with its growing number of words and its ability to form complex sentences, was a perfect tool for Locke and other Enlightenment thinkers to share these groundbreaking ideas. They were building a new way of thinking about the world, and English helped them build it. Consider how we use English to connect ideas. We don't just say one thing, then another. We use words and phrases to show how ideas are linked. For example, we use because to show a reason. We use therefore to show a result. We use however to show a difference. These small words are like the glue that holds our thoughts together. Let's look at how the structure of English helps us express complex links between these big ideas. Think about how we use participles. A participle is a verb form that can act like an adjective. For example, the thinking man considered the problem. Here, thinking describes the man. It's a simple way to add information. But English allows us to do much more. We can use relative clauses which start with words like who, which, or that. For example, the idea which was revolutionary changed the way people thought. The phrase which was revolutionary adds extra information about the idea. It tells us something important about its nature without needing a whole new sentence. This makes our sentences flow better and allows us to put more meaning into them. We also use modal verbs like might, could, should, and would. These words express possibility, ability, or obligation. They are crucial for discussing abstract concepts because big ideas are often about what could be, what should be, or what is possible. For instance, saying democracy is the best form of government is a strong statement. But saying democracy might be the best form of government, if citizens are well informed and actively participate, is much more detailed. The modal verb might shows uncertainty or possibility, and the phrase if sets a condition. This allows us to explore the complexities and potential challenges of an idea rather than just stating it as a simple fact. These grammar tools, participles, relative clauses, modal verbs, allow us to show the subtle connections between abstract concepts. They help us explain cause and effect, possibility and necessity, and the conditions under which an idea might be true or false. They move us beyond simple statements to a deeper, more analytical discussion. Now, let's explore those word roots I mentioned earlier. Many English words, especially those used for abstract thought, have roots from Latin and Greek. Understanding these roots can be like having a secret decoder for vocabulary. Take the prefix bene. It comes from Latin and means good or well. So, benefit is something good. Benevolent means having good will. Benefactor is someone who does good deeds. Or consider the Greek root logi, which means study of. We see it in words like psychology, the study of the mind, biology, the study of life, and philosophy. Philosophy. This word itself is a great example. It comes from Greek, philos meaning love and sophia meaning wisdom. So, philosophy is literally the love of wisdom. When we talk about philosophy, we are talking about the study of big ideas, ideas about knowledge, reality, values, reason, mind, and language. Let's look at some other common roots that unlock abstract words. Psych Greek means mind or soul. This gives us words like psychology, study of the mind, psychic relating to the mind or spirit, and psychosis, a mental illness. Meta Greek means beyond or after. This prefix is used in metaphysics, beyond the physical, metadata, data about data, and metaphor, a way of speaking where you compare one thing to another, like saying the world is a stage. Con Latin means to know. This is the root of cognition, the process of knowing and understanding, recognize to know again, and cognitive relating to knowing. Socio-Latin means society or companion. This gives us sociology, the study of society, social relating to society, and associate a partner or companion. Ethos, Greek, means character or custom. This leads to ethics, moral rules that guide behavior, and ethos itself the main character or spirit of a group. Or time. By learning these roots, you can often guess the meaning of new words. If you see a word with Benny, you can be pretty sure it has something to do with goodness. If you see logi, you know it's a field of study. This is a powerful way to expand your understanding of abstract concepts without having to memorize endless lists of definitions. It's about understanding the building blocks of language. This ability to break down words and understand their origins is a crucial part of advanced English for abstract thought. It allows you to approach unfamiliar vocabulary with confidence, knowing that you have the tools to figure out its meaning. It turns learning new words from a hard task into an exciting exploration. Ultimately, understanding big ideas is about connecting with the deeper parts of human experience. It's about asking the why and how questions. It's about exploring the world of thoughts, feelings, and possibilities that lie beyond the everyday. And English, with its rich vocabulary, its flexible grammar, and its history, provides us with an amazing set of tools for this journey. It's a language that has been shaped by centuries of thought, discussion, and discovery, making it perfectly suited for exploring the most important human questions. Now that we have seen how English is a powerful way to understand these deep concepts, and how its structure and words are made for abstract thought, we are ready to dive deeper. The next step is to get the specific language tools, the words and grammar, that truly help us engage with these complex ideas. We will now begin to explore these building blocks in more detail, learning how to use them to express our own deep thinking. 2. Exploring complex subjects. English is a great tool. We use it to ask for directions, to get food, and to talk with friends. But English can do much more. It can help us think about big questions in life. It can help us think about things we cannot touch, like ideas. This is what we mean by advanced English for abstract thought. It means using English to talk about things like fairness or happiness or what it means to be alive. Think about the word justice. You cannot hold justice in your hand. You cannot see it like a chair or a tree. Yet, we talk about justice all the time. We want justice for everyone. We say a situation is unfair. English gives us the words and ways to talk about these important ideas. It lets us understand ideas that are not physical. This is the main point of advanced English for abstract thought, using English to explore and share these non-physical, complex ideas. English has a special way of helping us with these abstract ideas. It has a huge number of words. Many words are for things we can see and touch, but many others are for ideas, feelings, and thoughts. Words like freedom, truth, beauty, and knowledge are not things you can buy. They are concepts. English lets us define them, compare them, and argue about them. Let's think about freedom. What does it really mean? For some, it might mean being able to go anywhere. For others, it might mean being free to say what you think. For a country, it might mean being free from another country's control. English gives us the words to explore all these different meanings. We can use words like liberty, autonomy, and independence to talk about different kinds of freedom. This large choice of words is a key reason why English is so good for deep thinking. It gives us many ways to describe and understand complex ideas. The way English sentences are put together also helps us think deeply. We can connect ideas using words like because, therefore, however, and although. These small words are like bridges. They help us show how one idea leads to another or how two ideas are different. For example, we can say, fairness is important, because it helps people feel safe and respected. Here, because shows the reason why fairness is important. Or we could say, some people think success is only about money. However, others believe happiness is the true measure of success. The word however shows a difference between two ideas. This ability to connect, show differences, and explain is vital for discussing complex subjects. It lets us build clear and logical arguments. This is not just about learning new words. It's about learning how to use the words you know and new ones you will learn to build understanding. When we learn English for abstract thought, we learn how to shape our thoughts into clear expressions. We learn to take an idea that is just a feeling or a thought in our head and give it form with words. This is a powerful skill. It means you can not only understand complex ideas when others explain them, but you can also share your own thoughts and insights. You can contribute to important talks. Let's look at a past example. Think about the time when scientists and thinkers in England started to explore new ideas about the world. Many of these ideas were very new and hard to explain. They were thinking about things like gravity, or how the stars moved, or even how the human mind worked. Before, people might have used simpler words or just told stories. But as these thinkers wrote and talked more, they needed new words and new ways to explain. For instance, the word atom comes from ancient Greek, but it became very important in English as scientists began to think about the smallest parts of matter. Words like electricity and gravity were explored and defined more clearly. Thinkers like Isaac Newton used English to write down his groundbreaking ideas about how things fall and how planets move. He didn't just say things fall down. He used precise language to describe the force of gravity. He wrote about universal gravitation. This was advanced English for abstract thought in action. He was using the language to explain an idea that was not easily seen or understood before. These thinkers didn't just make up words. Often, they took existing words and gave them new, specific meanings. Or they combined words to create new terms. This shows how a language can grow and change to help us think about more complex things. English, with its history of borrowing words from many other languages, has become very good at this. It has a vast toolkit for building new ideas and explaining them. So how does the specific vocabulary and grammar of English help us discuss abstract concepts like time, existence, or ethics compared to concrete topics? For concrete topics, like describing a table, we use words that point to physical qualities. It is brown. It has 4 legs. It is made of wood. These words are direct and easy to connect to what we see. But with abstract concepts, it's different. When we talk about time, we can't point to it. We talk about its flow, its passage, or its relativity. We use words that describe its effects or how we experience it. We might say, time seems to slow down when you are bored, but it flies when you are having fun. Here, slow down and flies are not literal actions of time, but ways we describe our experience of it. English lets us use comparisons to grasp these ideas. Similarly, existence is not something you can hold. We talk about being, reality, and consciousness. We ask questions like, what does it mean to exist? English grammar helps us form these questions and explore possible answers. We can use phrases like the nature of existence or the problem of consciousness. These phrases use nouns like nature and problem to frame the abstract ideas as something we can study and discuss. When we discuss ethics, we are talking about right and wrong. We use words like moral, virtue, duty, and responsibility. We can say, it is our ethical duty to help those in need. Here, ethical duty is a phrase that combines an abstract idea, ethical, with a concept of obligation, duty, to create a specific meaning. English grammar lets us combine these abstract words in many ways to explore complex moral questions. We can discuss the implications of an action, or its consequences, or its justification. These are all ways of breaking down an abstract idea into parts we can analyze using language. Now, what are some common problems English learners face when reading complex philosophical or scientific texts, and what can they do using their English skills to overcome them? One big problem is the sheer number of new words. You might read a sentence and find 3 or 4 words you don't know, and they are all key to understanding the idea. Another problem is that abstract words can have many subtle meanings. The word idea itself can mean a thought, a plan, a concept, or even a belief. Understanding which meaning is intended in a specific text requires careful reading. Also, the way sentences are structured in academic or philosophical writing can be quite different from everyday English. Sentences can be very long, with many parts, making them hard to follow. So what can you do? First, don't be afraid of the words. When you see a new word, try to understand it from the context. What is the sentence about? Does the surrounding text give you a clue? If not, it's okay to look it up in a dictionary. But don't just learn the definition, try to see how the word is used in the sentence. Second, pay attention to the structure of the sentences. Try to find the main subject and the main verb. This can help you understand the core meaning of the sentence. Break down long sentences into smaller parts. Ask yourself, what is the main point the author is trying to make here? Third, remember that these complex ideas are built step by step. Authors use the language to build their arguments. They introduce an idea, explain it, give examples, and then draw conclusions. Try to follow this process. What is the author's starting point? What evidence do they provide? What do they conclude? Fourth, practice. The more you read texts about complex subjects in English, the more comfortable you will become. Start with simpler texts if you need to, and gradually move to more challenging ones. Think of it like building a muscle. The more you use your English for deep thinking, the stronger it becomes. Consider a fictional example. Imagine a young student named Anya who is learning English. She wants to understand a book about what it means to be happy. The book talks about well-being, fulfillment, and contentment. Anya doesn't know these words. She looks them up. Well-being means being healthy and happy. Fulfillment means feeling satisfied because you are doing something important or useful. Contentment means a state of being happy and satisfied. Anya reads a sentence. True well-being is often found not in possessions, but in meaningful relationships and personal growth. This sentence uses abstract words. Anya breaks it down. The main idea is about well-being. The sentence says where it's not found possessions and where it is found relationships, growth. She sees how English uses not in but in to show a difference. She realizes that meaningful relationships and personal growth are also abstract ideas that contribute to happiness. She then encounters another idea. The pursuit of fleeting pleasures can sometimes distract from the deeper sense of fulfillment. Here, pursuit means trying to get something. Fleeting pleasures means things that make you happy for a short time. Distract means to pull your attention away. So the sentence means that always looking for quick fun can stop you from finding that deeper satisfaction. Anya sees how words like fleeting and deeper sense help describe the quality of the experience. Through this process, Anya is not just learning definitions. She is learning how English allows us to compare different kinds of happiness, short-term pleasure versus long-term fulfillment. She is learning how to use words like true, often, sometimes, and deeper sense to add detail and precision to her understanding. She is actively engaging in advanced English for abstract thought. Learning to explore complex subjects in English is a journey. It's about understanding that the language is a powerful tool capable of carrying the weight of our deepest thoughts. It's about building confidence, word by word, sentence by sentence, to engage with ideas that shape our world and our understanding of ourselves. This process empowers you to move beyond simply speaking English to truly thinking with it. It opens up a universe of knowledge and understanding, making profound ideas accessible and expressible. 3. Philosophical discussions in English. Learning English is like getting a special key. It doesn't just open doors to talk with people around the world, it opens doors in your mind. It helps you think about big, important ideas. Ideas that are not things you can touch or see, like fairness or what it means to be alive. This is what we call advanced English for abstract thought. It's about using English not just for hello and goodbye, but for why and what if. Think about a time you had a really big thought, a feeling, or a question inside you. Maybe you wanted to talk about why some people are treated unfairly or what makes a good life. But the words just wouldn't come out right. It felt like trying to catch smoke with your hands. This is a common feeling, and it's often because we haven't yet learned the specific English words and ways of putting sentences together that are best for these deep thoughts. English, with its many words and flexible ways of building sentences, is a wonderful tool for exploring these non-physical ideas. It gives us the power to understand and share our deepest thinking. Let's imagine a young student named Anya. Anya loved to read stories and watch films about how the world works. She felt things deeply. One day, she watched a film about people who were treated badly just because of where they came from. Anya felt a strong sense of unfairness. She wanted to tell her friend, it's not right that some people get treated worse than others. Everyone should be treated the same. But when she tried to say it in English, it came out as bad for them. Good for others. Not same. Her friend nodded, but Anya felt frustrated. The big, important feeling inside her wasn't coming out. She needed more than just basic words. She needed the language of fairness, of equality. English has a special richness when it comes to talking about these big ideas. It has words that describe things we can't hold in our hands like justice, freedom, or truth. These are not like apple or chair. They are ideas that live in our minds and hearts. English has developed many words to help us talk about these ideas, to explain them, and to argue about them. When we talk about philosophy, we are talking about asking big questions about life, the world, and our place in it. We ask, what is real? How do we know things? What is good and bad? These are questions people have thought about for thousands of years, and English has become a very important language for these discussions. Let's look at some of the types of big ideas we talk about in philosophy. First, there's metaphysics. This sounds complicated, but it's really about asking, what is real? What exists? We use words like reality, what is truly there, beyond what we see or imagine. Being, simply, the state of existing. Are we really here? What does it mean to be? Essence, the basic nature of something. What makes a chair, even if it looks different? Causality, the idea that one thing makes another thing happen. Like, if you push a block, that push cause makes it move effect. Determinism, the idea that everything that happens is already decided and cannot be changed. Free will, the idea that we can make our own choices and are responsible for them. When Anya wanted to talk about fairness, she was touching on the idea of justice, which is a big part of metaphysics and ethics. She was thinking about whether people's lives are determined or if they have free will to change their situation. Then there's epistemology. This is about knowledge. How do we know what we know? We use words like knowledge, more than just guessing. It's believing something that is true and having good reasons for believing it. Belief, what you think is true, even if you don't have proof. Justification, the good reasons you have for believing something. Skepticism, doubting things. Asking, how can I be sure this is true? Perception, how we see, hear, and feel the world around us. Reason, using logic and thinking to understand things. If Anya wanted to explain why she thought it was unfair, she might need to talk about whether her belief that everyone should be treated the same was based on good reasons, justification, or just a feeling. She might even be a bit skeptical about why some people believe differently. Next is ethics. This is about what is right and wrong, good and bad. It's about how we should live. Key words here are morality, the principles of right and wrong behavior. Virtue, being good, having good qualities like kindness, honesty, and courage. Duty, what you are supposed to do, your responsibilities. Consequence, what happens after an action, the result of doing something. Good, what is right and beneficial. Evil, what is wrong and harmful. Anya's feeling about fairness is deeply connected to ethics. She felt that treating people unfairly was evil or wrong, and that treating everyone the same was good. She might think it's a duty to speak up against unfairness. Finally, there's logic. This is the study of how to think clearly and make good arguments. It helps us see if our thinking makes sense. Important words include premise, a statement that is assumed to be true, used to build an argument. Conclusion, the idea that follows from the premises. Argument, a set of statements premises leading to a conclusion. Fallacy, a mistake in reasoning that makes an argument weak or wrong. Valid, an argument is valid if the conclusion must be true if the premises are true. Sound, an argument is sound if it is valid and its premises are actually true. If Anya wanted to explain her idea about fairness to someone who didn't agree, she would need to use logic. She could say, Premise 1, all people are human beings. Premise 2, all human beings deserve to be treated with respect. Conclusion, therefore, all people deserve to be treated with respect. This is a simple argument. Learning these words helps us understand and build these kinds of reason thoughts. Now, let's think about how English grammar helps us with these deep ideas. It's not just about having the right words, but how we put them together. Modal verbs are very useful. Words like could, might, should, and would help us talk about things that are not certain. If everyone was treated fairly, the world might be a better place. This is a possibility, not a sure thing. We should always try to be kind. This is a suggestion or an obligation. If Anya spoke up, she could make a difference. This is about ability or possibility. Conditional sentences are also key. They help us explore what-if situations. If we believe that everyone is equal, then we must act against unfairness. If Anya had not felt that way, then she might not have learned this important lesson. These sentences show a connection between two ideas, one that might happen or be true, and what would follow from it. The passive voice can be useful in philosophy. Sometimes, we want to focus on the idea or the action, not who did it. Instead of saying someone made the decision to punish him, we can say, a decision was made to punish him. This puts the focus on the decision itself, which might be more important in a philosophical discussion about justice. And complex sentence structures, using clauses that add more information, help us connect many ideas at once. While some people believe that life is predetermined, others argue that because we have the ability to choose, we have the responsibility to make good decisions. This sentence links two different ideas about life and choice using while and because. It shows a deeper understanding of the debate. Understanding philosophical texts in English is a skill that can be learned. When you read, look for the author's main idea, their thesis. What are they trying to convince you of? Then look at their reasons. How do they support their idea? Do they use logic? Do they give examples? Do they ask questions? Recognizing these patterns helps you follow their thinking. For example, if you read a philosopher talking about knowledge, pay attention to whether they mean just believing something or if they require strong justification for that belief. The difference is important. When you want to form your own philosophical arguments in English, start simple. 1. State your idea clearly. What do you believe? 2. Give your reasons. Why do you believe it? Use words like because, since, or for. 3. Think about what someone else might say. What could be a counter-argument? And how would you respond to that? Let's go back to Anya. She practiced. She learned words like equality, fairness, and human rights. She learned to say, it is unjust when people are treated differently based on their background. True equality means everyone has the same opportunities and respect. Her friend understood her much better. Anya felt a surge of confidence. Her English was now a tool for her deep thoughts. She was using advanced English for abstract thought. The specific choice of English vocabulary truly shapes how philosophical ideas are understood. Consider the difference between belief and knowledge. If someone says, I believe the sun will rise tomorrow, it's a statement of expectation. But if they say, I know the sun will rise tomorrow, it suggests they have strong evidence and certainty, perhaps based on scientific understanding. In philosophy, this distinction is crucial. Philosophers debate what counts as knowledge versus mere belief. They might ask, is it enough to feel something is true, or do we need solid proof? The English words belief and knowledge carry different weights and imply different levels of certainty, guiding the entire discussion. A common difficulty for those learning English to talk about deep ideas is using words too generally. For instance, using good for everything from a nice meal to a moral action. To get better at this, it helps to learn more specific English words for different kinds of good, like beneficial, virtuous, ethical, or desirable. Another challenge is the subtle meaning of small words like a, and the. In serious writing, these small words can change the whole meaning. For example, the idea of freedom is different from an idea of freedom. The first suggests a specific, well-known concept, while the second suggests one among many possible ideas about freedom. To get better at this, learners benefit greatly from reading a lot and paying close attention to how native speakers use these small words in complex sentences. Practicing and seeing lots of examples are key to mastering this detail. We've seen how English provides the words and structures to discuss the big questions of life. We've explored how specific vocabulary and grammar help us understand concepts like reality, knowledge, and right from wrong. Now, having built this foundation for philosophical discussion, we are ready to move on to how these same linguistic tools can help us analyze arguments and sharpen our own critical thinking. 4. Learning English for deeper expression. Learning English is like getting new tools. We start with simple tools for daily life, like talking about the weather or buying food. But what if you want to make something bigger? What if you want to understand how things work in the world, or share your deepest feelings about life? This is where learning English for deeper thoughts comes in. It's about going past just talking and starting to truly think and show your thoughts in more important ways. Think about a time you had a big idea, but you couldn't find the right words to explain it. Maybe you felt a thought growing inside you, something important, but when you tried to speak, it came out mixed up or too simple. This happens to many people, and it's what we want to fix with advanced English for abstract thought. This idea is all about the special words and ways of putting sentences together that help us talk about things we can't touch or see. It's about ideas like fairness or being happy or what it means to be alive. English has a wonderful way of giving us the exact words we need for these big, important thoughts. Let's begin with words. We have words for things we can see and touch: a table, a chair, a tree. These are easy to point at or picture. But English also has a huge box of words for things we cannot touch or see. These are called abstract words. Words like fairness, freedom, knowing, beauty, and hope. Imagine you want to talk about fairness. You could say it's not good when someone takes more than their part. This is simple and clear. But if you want to talk about the idea of fairness itself, you need a different kind of word. Fairness is a concept. It's an idea about what is right and just in a group of people. It's not a thing you can hold. English gives us this word, fairness, and many others like it. We can talk about equality, which means everyone being treated the same. We can talk about rights, which are things everyone should be allowed to do or have. We can even talk about morals, which are the rules about what is right or wrong. These abstract words are like keys. Each one opens a door to a deeper understanding. When you learn them, you don't just add them to a list. You gain the power to explore big ideas. For example, instead of just saying, "I think this is a good idea," you can say, "I guess that this way might work better." The word guess suggests a thoughtful try based on some clues, which is much deeper than just saying "I think," or think about being aware. This isn't something you can see in a lab, but it's the very heart of knowing you are alive, of experiencing the world. English gives us the word to talk about this deep part of ourselves. See the difference between saying, "The government should help poor people," and "the country has a duty to make plans that fix big money problems and help people move up." The second sentence uses words like duty, make plans, problems, and move up. These are all abstract words that allow for a much more detailed and thoughtful talk about how people should live together. They move us from a simple wish to a smart plan. Now, let's think about how we build sentences. Simple sentences are often short and direct. The dog barked. She is happy. These are fine for everyday talk. But when we want to share big ideas, we need to connect our thoughts in more skilled ways. This is where English grammar becomes very useful. Think about how you can link ideas. We use words like and, but, and or. But English offers many more ways to connect thoughts, showing how they relate to each other. We have sentences that start with if. For example, if we spend money on learning, then we will see more money in the future. This sentence doesn't just state two facts, it shows a cause and effect. It's a way of thinking about what might happen and what the result will be. Another important grammar tool is the passive voice. Sometimes we don't want to focus on who did something, but on what was done. For instance, instead of saying, "Scientists found a new planet," we can say, "A new planet was found." This might seem like a small change, but in talks about big ideas, it's very helpful. If we are talking about the process of finding, or what the finding means, the passive voice helps us keep the focus on the finding, not just the people who found it. This is important when talking about broad science ideas or past events where the people might be less important than the events themselves. We can also build longer, more complex sentences. This doesn't mean using lots of hard words to confuse people. It means carefully joining different parts of an idea so that the whole picture becomes clearer. For example, instead of saying, "He was tired," "He went to bed early," we can join these ideas. Feeling very tired, he chose to go to bed earlier than usual. This longer sentence adds a sense of why and uses more descriptive words. Being able to build these complex sentences is key for advanced English for abstract thought. It allows us to show how different ideas connect, to explain reasons step by step, and to present a full, well-rounded idea. When you can build sentences that show how one idea leads to another, or how different ideas are linked, you are truly thinking deeply and showing it well. Let's look at the idea of small differences in meaning and how to show them. Life isn't always clear-cut. Our thoughts and feelings are often in between. English gives us many words to show these small differences. This is important for deep thinking because it stops us from making complex issues too simple. Think about the word think. It's a very general word, but English has many words that mean think but with different shades of meaning. Think. This is the most general word. I think it might rain. Believe. This means you feel more sure, often based on faith or a strong opinion. I believe in honesty. Assume. This means to accept something as true without proof, often as a starting point. Let's assume this is the right answer and see what happens. Hypothesize. This is a more scientific or academic way of guessing, suggesting a possible idea that can be tested. The scientist guessed that the new medicine would work. Surmise. This means to guess something based on what you know or have seen, but without being completely sure. From the muddy footprints, I guess that someone was here recently. Opine. This is a more formal word for sharing an opinion, often in a public or expert setting. The money expert said that prices would keep going up. Contemplate. This means to think deeply and for a long time, often about something serious or philosophical. She sat by the window, thinking deeply about the meaning of life. Each of these words carries a different weight, a different level of certainty, and a different situation. By choosing the right word from this group, you can show your thoughts with great accuracy. This is the heart of deeper expression. It's not just about saying something. It's about saying it exactly as you mean it. This accuracy is key to understanding big ideas, where small differences in meaning can lead to very different understandings. For example, if you are talking about a philosophical idea, using contemplate suggests a deep, thoughtful process that is very different from simply thinking. If you are presenting a science idea, hypothesize is the right word, showing that you are suggesting an idea that can be tested. This careful choice of words allows for a more skilled and correct sharing of complex ideas. Common phrases and descriptive language can also add depth, but we must use them with care. Common phrases are groups of words where the meaning is not clear from the individual words. For example, thinking outside the box means thinking in a new and creative way. Descriptive language uses comparisons, like metaphors and similes, to make ideas more lively. His argument was like a strong wall, hard to break. These tools can make abstract ideas easier to understand and more impactful. They can paint a picture in the listener's or reader's mind. However, they can also be confusing if used wrongly or if the audience doesn't understand them. For people learning English, it's important to learn common phrases and metaphors used in smart talks, but also to know when a more direct and plain explanation is better. For instance, in a formal philosophical talk, while thinking outside the box is understood, a more exact explanation of new thinking might be better. The key is to use them to help understanding, not to hide it. Let me tell you a story about a student I once had, a smart young woman named Anya. Anya was from a country where English was taught mostly for practical, everyday use. She was very good at that. She could order coffee, ask for directions, and chat about the weather easily. But Anya loved philosophy. She loved reading books about big ideas, about how people are and the universe. When Anya first came to my class, she felt upset. She would read a difficult philosophy book, understand the words one by one, but then struggle to explain the author's complex ideas. She'd try to say her thoughts directly from her own language, and the sentences came out awkward, or the meaning was lost. She told me, "Teacher, I understand the ideas in my head, but when I try to say them in English, they become small and simple. It feels like I am stuck." We started working on advanced English for abstract thought. We didn't just learn new words, we learned how those words fit together. We looked at how English grammar could help her build complex sentences that showed how ideas were related. For example, she was trying to explain the idea of existentialism. In her own words, she might have said, "People are born, and then they have to choose what to do." It is scary. Together, we worked to make this better. We introduced words like being, what makes something, freedom, duty, fear, and real. We practiced using sentences that start with if to show cause and effect, and how to use extra description to add more detail. Soon, Anya was able to say things like, "Existentialism suggests that for humans, being comes before what makes something. This means that we are born into the world without a set purpose, and it is through our choices and actions that we create our own meaning and decide who we are." This great freedom, while powerful, also brings a deep sense of duty and can lead to feelings of fear as we face the many choices we have. Living a real life, according to this idea, means accepting this freedom and duty rather than ignoring it. Notice the difference. Anya was no longer just stating a basic idea. She was explaining a complex philosophy idea with small differences in meaning and accuracy. She learned to use words like suggests, set, great, deep, and face to show the deeper meaning. She learned to structure her sentences to show the logical flow of the idea. The frustration she felt began to go away, replaced by growing confidence. She discovered that English wasn't a wall, it was a bridge. A bridge to showing the very thoughts that mattered most to her. So, how does the specific choice of advanced English words directly allow for a more exact way of explaining abstract concepts than simpler language would? It's because these advanced words are made to carry specific meanings, layers of implication, and history. A simple word like good can mean many things: pleasant, morally right, effective, skillful. But words like kind, virtuous, working well, or skilled each point to a very particular kind of goodness. When talking about abstract concepts like morality or effectiveness, using these more exact words allows us to tell apart different types of goodness, to study them more closely, and to share our study without confusion. For instance, discussing kindness in a philosophical text. Conclusion: you have come to the end of our shared path. We started by learning English, and now you know how it can help you share your deepest thoughts. Well done for finishing English for deep thinking. We wanted to show you that English is more than just talking about everyday things. It is a special door that opens up your mind. We learned that by knowing English well, you can think about hard ideas and ask big questions about life. This ending is not a stop sign. It is a place to look out and see all the exciting things you can do next. It is a chance to be proud of how far you have come. We talked a lot about thinking with big words in English. This does not mean learning many new words. It means learning how to use English to talk about ideas that are not things you can touch. These ideas are in your mind. We saw that being able to talk about big ideas and hard subjects is what thinking with big words in English helps you do. It helps you share what is in your mind with others. You can tell them not just what you see, but what you understand, what you wonder about, and what you believe. Think about words like freedom or truth. You cannot hold these things. They are big ideas. English, with its many words and ways to put them together, gives you the way to explore these ideas. It helps you talk about ideas that are not real things and to think about life and what it means. This is what we have built, a way to use English for these deep thoughts. The power of thinking with big words in English is that it helps you be very clear and thoughtful. When you talk about big ideas, even small changes in words can change what you mean. English gives you the tools to show these small differences. For example, saying you were thinking about a problem is different from saying you were thinking deeply about how to solve it. This ability to show small differences is important for understanding hard ideas and for sharing your own thoughts well. It helps you understand hard topics and to join in when people talk about them. We showed that these advanced skills and complex ideas are for everyone. Anyone can learn how to use English for more than just daily talk, but to truly think and share deep thoughts. Now, the real adventure starts. You are not just learning English anymore. You can now join in and share your ideas. What you have learned is like a seed. Keep practicing and it will grow. Do not let your learning sit still. Find people who think and write and talk about interesting things. Read books about feelings, science, or art. Listen to talks that discuss hard topics. Most importantly, use the English you have learned to join in. Write down your thoughts, even if they are not perfect at first. Try to explain a hard idea to a friend or to yourself. Thinking deeply is a journey for your whole life, and your English skills are now your best guide. Welcome the challenge, because it will bring you great joy. The main ideas we talked about, that learning English is good for more than just everyday talk, and that it can help you think and share deep thoughts, are the best rewards. As you continue this journey, remember that language is always changing, and your relationship with English will grow. You can change and improve it. It is a partner in your learning, so go forward. With thinking with big words in English as your guide, explore the deep parts of your mind and connect with the most important ideas people have. The world of deep thought is waiting for you to speak.